In this video, we are going to learn how to create pages, dialogues, and transitions in jQuery Mobile. So first of all, we're going to create our first page, page 1. And we're going to place a couple of links inside this page. And we'll learn how to style them as buttons. Also, we'll learn how to add some theming to our elements using the jQuery Mobile themes. So the first link is going to take us to another page that we'll create, which is page 2. Okay. And inside page 2, we're going to have another link taking us to page 1. So the other link in page 1 will open a dialog like this. So we'll learn also how to create these transitions. So for example, when we go to page 2 from page 1, we have a flip transition. From page 1 to page 2, we have a pop transition. And when we open the dialog, we have a slide transition. Okay. So we're going to cover all this in this video. So first of all, let's change the name of our file introduction to 1 pages, dialogues, transitions. Okay, and also change the title to pages, dialogues, and transitions. Okay. So first of all, to create a page, we need to create a div which has got a data role page. Okay, so let's go ahead and do this. So we're going to create a div and give it a data attribute which is data role and set that to page. Okay, we're going to give it an ID so that we can link this page to link elements. And inside this page, we are going to have 3 elements. So you're going to have a header, a content element, and a footer. So the header is a div with a data role set to header. Okay. The content of the page is a div which has got a data role or role set to main. Okay, and a class UI content. The footer is an element of data role footer. Okay, so now let's add some text inside each of these elements. So in the header, let's write page 1. In the content, let's create a paragraph for now. And in the footer, let's just write a heading footer. So let's save and go to the live preview. Okay, so now we can see our header, content, and footer. To center text in the header, we can just place it inside a heading like this. Now if we save and refresh, that's censored. Okay. All right, so let's have a look at our final page and see what we need to do. So we want the footer to be fixed at the bottom of the page. So to do that, we're going to add another data attribute to the footer, which is data position. And we're going to set that to fixed. So if we save and refresh, our footer now is fixed at the bottom. Okay. Now let's go ahead and create the first link to the second page. So we're going to create a link. Okay, and let's place some text in there. Go to page 2. Okay, so to style the link as a button, we're going to give it a data attribute, data role, that we set to button. Okay, So let's save and refresh. Okay, now you can see a button. Now to link this element to our second page, we're going to use an href. And that's going to go to our element page 2. So we're going to create page 2 and give it an ID page 2. Okay, so the href is going to be page 2. Okay, so let's copy this and create our second page. So that's page 2. And the first one is page 1. That's the end of page 1, and that's the end of page 2. Okay, so let's change the content inside. So the heading is page 2. Okay, and we're going to have a link inside page 2 saying go to page 1. And it's going to link to page 1. The ID of page 2 is going to be page 2. Now let's save and refresh. So if we click on the link on page 1, we go to page 2. And if we click on the link in page 2, we go back to page 1. All right. Now let's add some styling to page 2. Okay. So you're going to use a jQuery mobile theme. So to do that, we're going to go to the page elements and add an attribute data theme. So we've got a couple of choices here. So we can set this to A or B. So A is going to be a light theme and B is going to be a dark theme. So let's go for B. So let's save and go to page 2. And now you can see the dark theme. If we go to page 1, we can set the theme to A, which is the default theme. Okay. Now let's add transitions. So when we go from page 2 to page 1, we can see a flip transition. And if we go back, we see a pop transition. So to add a transition, we're going to go to the link, okay, and add a data transition attribute. So from page 1 to page 2, we want a flip transition, and from page 2 to page 1, we want a pop transition. Okay, so let's save and refresh. Okay, now you've got a flip transition and a pop transition. All right. Now in page 1, we're going to create another link to open a dialog. So let's copy the first link. We're looking at page 1. Okay. So this is going to be the dialog link. Okay. So let's change the text inside to open dialog. Okay. And let's set the transition to a slide transition. Now to create a dialog link, we are going to need another data attribute, which is data relationship, which we will set to dialog. Okay. And the href attribute, we are going to set it to the page or file corresponding to the dialog. So you're going to create a file and call it dialog.html. Okay. And when we click on the link, we are going to open that file inside the dialog. So let's create this file, dialog.html. So it's going to be the same structure as our first file. Let's change the title to dialog, and let's empty the body. Okay, so rather than creating a normal page, we are going to create a div of data role dialog. Okay, so inside the dialog we're going to have a couple of elements. So you're going to have the header and the content. So the header is going to be a div of data role header. Okay, and let's place a heading inside saying dialog. Okay, and the content is going to be an element of data role content. Okay, and let's place a heading and a paragraph inside and a link. So inside the heading, let's copy that, and then a paragraph, then a link. Okay, so the link is going to take a few attributes here. So you're going to give it a data role button to style it as a button. Okay, also we're going to give it a data relationship saying back, okay, which means that it will take us back to the page like that. Okay, and to style it, we're going to use the theme B. Okay, so data theme B. Now let's save and refresh. So now if you open our dialog, you can see the dialog there, and we can see the slide transition. Now let's just style the open dialog button using the theme B. Like that. So if we save and refresh, we can see our styling there. Alright, so in the next video we are going to learn how to create nav bars in jQuery Mobile.